Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
Imagine holding out your hand and thinking that it feels solid, the skin firm, the bones steady, the shape of you undeniable. Yet beneath that firmness there is almost nothing at all. The atoms that make up your hand are built mostly of empty space. Within each atom, a tiny, heavy nucleus sits at the center, while electrons drift around like moths circling an invisible flame. If you were to magnify your hand until one atom was the size of a cathedral, the nucleus would be no larger than a grain of sand resting at the altar. The rest would be space, quiet and open, like a midnight sky without stars. What feels solid is, in truth, a dance of forces, not the touch of matter itself. The whisper of empty space begins here, in this delicate paradox. The world that seems so full, so heavy, so immovable, is actually woven from absence. The solidity you feel when your palm rests on a wooden table is not the meeting of substance, but the refusal of electrons to overlap, the quiet resistance of energy fields pressing against one another. You never truly touch the table. Instead, your atoms and its atoms exchange a silent signal, a force that tells them to keep their distance. This signal becomes sensation. It becomes the sense of contact. It becomes the illusion of weight and form. When physicists began to study the atom in the early 20th century, they too were astonished by the emptiness. The old models imagined matter as dense and indivisible, like tiny marbles or bricks that built the universe. But experiments revealed something stranger. The atom is not a marble. It is a cloud of probability, a shimmering haze of where an electron might be found. And inside, the nucleus holds protons and neutrons, themselves made of even smaller quarks bound together by the strongest force known in nature. Between nucleus and electron spreads a gulf so wide that, scaled to human size, it would stretch across entire landscapes. Reality, it seems, is made of distance as much as of presence. Let us drift deeper into this idea. Think of the air around you, filled with molecules of nitrogen and oxygen, carrying the faint scent of life. These molecules are bundles of atoms, and those atoms are mostly empty. Even the floor that supports you, the chair that cradles you, the very walls that encircle you, are airy structures when seen with the eyes of physics. The universe is not crowded with substance, but is instead a vast architecture of space, stitched together by fields and forces. Like the silence between notes in a song, this emptiness gives shape to everything we know. Without the space within the atom, there would be no balance, no motion, no breath between one state and another. Now imagine yourself shrinking, smaller and smaller, until you could drift among the atoms of your own body. You would see nuclei shining like tiny suns, each one powerful beyond imagination. Around them, electrons would not orbit like planets, but hover in shimmering clouds, patterns of possibility rather than lines of certainty. Between them stretches darkness, a silent expanse. You could float for long moments before reaching the next island of matter. In that journey, you would understand that the essence of existence is not density, but the balance between presence and absence, energy and void. This space is not wasted. It allows atoms to bond, to join hands in the grand choreography of molecules. It gives room for light to pass, for signals to move, for the pulses of life to unfold. Without emptiness, there could be no breathing, no flowing of rivers, no drifting of planets through the heavens. The quiet within the atom is the same quiet that fills the spaces between galaxies. It is not nothingness, but a canvas where the laws of nature write their story. Scientists often say that emptiness is an illusion, that what we call nothing is alive with possibility. Even the vacuum of space, stripped of particles, vibrates with hidden energy. This quantum hum, called the zero-point energy, whispers that there is no perfect stillness, no absolute void. At the smallest scales, fluctuations appear and vanish like fireflies in the dusk. A pair of particles may spark into existence, borrow their brief moment of being, and then dissolve back into silence. The universe breathes in these fluctuations, a restless slumber beneath the calm face of reality. As you rest with this thought, notice how it changes the way you feel about touch, about form, about your own being. You are less solid than you thought, but also more wondrous. To be mostly empty is to be open, to hold within you the quiet of the universe itself. The spaces in your atoms echo the spaces between the stars. The emptiness of your hand is kin to the emptiness of galaxies, and yet both give rise to beauty, to connection, to meaning. What seems fragile is, in truth, the strongest of foundations, because it is the very fabric of how reality holds itself together. The whisper of empty space continues every time you pause to breathe, every time you gaze at the night sky, every time you remember that solidity is only the hush of electrons refusing to collapse. In this hush lies the poetry of existence, that what feels full is almost nothing, and what feels empty is everything. You are a constellation of atoms, each one vast inside, each one a theater where silence and motion perform their endless play. To walk through the world is to walk through emptiness, woven into form by invisible hands. And in that gentle paradox, we find a truth as calming as the night. Reality is made of whispers, and the softest whisper of all is the space inside an atom. If the emptiness within atoms is the quiet stage on which reality performs, then the bonds between atoms are the choreography itself. Imagine two hydrogen atoms drifting close to one another. Their electrons, soft clouds of probability, begin to overlap. Instead of colliding, they share. They lean into one another's presence, and a new shape emerges, the molecule of hydrogen gas. Out of emptiness comes union. Out of distance comes connection. This bond is not a touch in the way our hands press against stone, but a weaving of fields, a linking of invisible threads. The very air you breathe is stitched from such gentle sharing. Now drift further to the moment when hydrogen atoms met oxygen long ago, joining to make water. Here, emptiness again allowed possibility. If atoms were solid marbles, no bonds could form, no gentle linking could occur. Instead, because they are mostly open space, they can lean into one another's clouds, letting electrons move between them like shared lanterns glowing in the dark. This is why water flows, why rivers sing, why your blood carries oxygen to each corner of your body. The whisper of empty space is not silence but song, a harmony that makes life possible. Think of a forest after rain. Drops of water cling to leaves, shining with sunlight. Each drop is a collection of billions of water molecules, each molecule a dance of two hydrogens and one oxygen, and each atom within them mostly empty. Yet when combined, they feel cool against your skin, they carve valleys through stone, they fill oceans that cradle the sky. How extraordinary that such power comes not from crowded substance, but from space within space, emptiness made fertile by energy. The softness of a raindrop is the softness of atoms themselves, leaning into one another across their quiet gaps. We can follow this emptiness outward into the cosmos. Look up at the night sky, where stars glimmer like lanterns. Between those stars stretch gulfs of darkness, far larger than the distances within atoms but born of the same truth. Most of the universe is not stars or planets, but space, quiet and vast. Galaxies themselves are mostly void, their stars spread thinly like grains of sand across deserts of silence. The emptiness within you mirrors the emptiness beyond you, as though nature loves to echo its patterns at every scale. What you carry in your atoms is what the cosmos carries in its galaxies, an architecture of absence giving birth to presence. Scientists once thought of the universe as a kind of clockwork machine, built of solid gears clicking against one another. But the atom teaches us otherwise. Reality is not hard and mechanical, but spacious and soft, alive with probabilities. The emptiness is what allows light to move, what lets gravity stretch, what makes time itself unfold. Without the whisper of empty space, there would be no rhythm, no possibility of motion, no place for stars to shine or minds to dream. Inside your body, emptiness makes room for the pulses of thought. Neurons communicate with delicate electrical whispers, sending ions across tiny gaps called synapses. If the atoms inside your neurons were not mostly space, if they were crowded and rigid, those pulses could not travel, those signals could not leap. The mind itself would be locked, unable to flow. Instead, the emptiness of atoms becomes the canvas for consciousness, a stillness that allows sparks of thought to drift like fireflies in summer air. When you remember a childhood moment or imagine tomorrow's dawn, you are leaning on the same spaces that hold electrons in their ghostly dance. Even the hardest substances, iron, diamond, stone, are born of emptiness. Their strength comes not from crowded mass, but from the way atoms arrange, the way their empty spaces overlap to form sturdy patterns. A diamond shines because carbon atoms bond tightly in a lattice, their electrons shared in harmony. But even in that perfect crystal, most of what exists is still absence. The sparkle you see is light meeting emptiness, bending and scattering in ways that paint beauty from silence. And what of the human heart, steady in its rhythm? Its cells contract and relax, fueled by energy carried on molecules of ATP, built of atoms, built of emptiness. Each beat is a reminder that the void in atoms is not a void of despair, but a fertile silence. It allows bonds to form, molecules to build, energy to flow. In each heartbeat is the echo of the space within atoms, the same space that allows stars to burn, the same space that lets galaxies drift. To live is to pulse with emptiness, to be carried forward by what is not there as much as by what is. There is a strange comfort in knowing that we are made of such silence. For many, emptiness feels like loss, like absence, like something missing. But in the language of physics, emptiness is possibility, a field of openness where forces can move, where light can shimmer, where matter can bloom. Without the space between nucleus and electron, atoms would collapse into themselves, crushing everything into stillness. There would be no rivers, no trees, no sky, no you. Emptiness is not lack, emptiness is freedom. Think of music. Without silence between notes, there would only be noise, a crushing wave of sound. But with silence, melody emerges. The same is true of atoms. Their silences shape their songs. Each atom is a note, each molecule a chord, and altogether they create the symphony of existence. You are not only made of atoms, but of the spaces that let those atoms sing. The whisper of empty space deepens when we realize that even the nucleus itself, so tiny yet so heavy, is not entirely solid. Inside the nucleus, protons and neutrons are held together by the strong force, a grip so powerful it binds quarks into being. But even there, motion and fluctuation stir. Quarks flicker within their prisons, gluons dart between them, fields rise and fall. The heart of matter is restless, alive, spacious in its own way. No level of reality is solid like stone. Every level is song and space, whisper and pause. And so, as you sit in the quiet of your room, surrounded by the familiar solidity of your world, you might imagine that solidity dissolving into the truth beneath it. Your chair, your walls, your own hand, all mostly empty. Yet in that emptiness, bonds are woven, light is carried, life is possible. You are not less real because of this emptiness. You are more. You are a constellation of spaces where forces meet, where silence allows beauty, where the universe has chosen to dance. Rest for a moment with this thought. You are not heavy stone, but soft openness. You are not a closed container, but a pattern of spaces joined by invisible hands. The whisper of empty space is in you and you in it. It is the quiet that makes life possible, the stillness that carries the song of the stars, the pause that lets the heart beat. In this silence, everything exists. In this emptiness, everything is real. The story of emptiness in atoms is also the story of our place in the universe. It reminds us that reality is not as it first appears. What seems heavy and full is actually light and open. What seems solid is woven from silence. To live with this knowledge is to see the world differently, to walk through it with wonder rather than certainty. You begin to notice how every object around you, every tree, every stone, every breath of air carries the same hidden truth, that its foundation is spaciousness. Emptiness is not the absence of life, but the foundation of it. Without emptiness, there could be no softness, no flow, no possibility for change. Imagine watching sunlight stream through the branches of an old tree. The light falls not in a heavy block, but in scattered beams, weaving patterns on the ground. The air that holds those beams is filled with molecules, each one built of atoms, each atom mostly space. The light itself, photons dancing without mass, slips easily through these wide gaps. The shadows and brightness you see are a painting drawn upon emptiness. If matter were dense and impenetrable, light would have no path. The world would be dark and closed. Instead, emptiness makes space for radiance. This truth reaches further to the stars themselves. In the heart of a star, nuclear fusion binds hydrogen into helium, releasing light and warmth. Yet the atoms that fuse are still mostly empty, their nuclei colliding only because the pressure and heat overcome their natural repulsion. The energy of the sun, which feeds forests and oceans and your very heartbeat, is born from emptiness meeting force. It is silence yielding to touch, creating fire. Every sunrise is therefore a gift from the spaces inside atoms, a light kindled in absence, carried across space to reach your eyes. When you raise your gaze to the night sky, you see not only stars but also vast darkness between them. That darkness is not nothing, it is echo. The space between galaxies, like the space within atoms, is alive with fields and energy, invisible but real. Astronomers believe that most of the universe is made not of the matter we know but of dark matter and dark energy, mysteries still waiting to be understood. And yet even these unknowns are tied to the idea of space, of empty. SS filled with hidden whispers. Reality is not crowded with certainties but open with mysteries, waiting gently for us to listen. On the human scale, the whisper of empty space brings humility. It tells us that what we cling to as solid is only temporary arrangement, patterns of atoms in fragile balance. The wooden table will one day crumble, its molecules drifting back into soil. The body will return to dust, its atoms dispersing into air and water. But the emptiness remains, it is not destroyed. The spaces inside atoms are eternal, the canvas reused endlessly, a stage on which new stories unfold. This gives death a different meaning, not as an ending but as a soft turning, a pause between melodies in the greater symphony of matter and silence. There is also comfort here. To know that you are mostly space is to know that you are not heavy, not rigid, not bound. You are openness made visible, a structure of lightness. The weight you feel when you stand is only the earth's pull, only the resistance of forces. In truth, you are as airy as a cloud, as open as the night sky. This openness allows you to change, to grow, to love, to remember. It is the reason you are not locked in stillness. Emptiness frees you even as it holds you. The whisper of empty space is also a reminder of connection. Since atoms are mostly space, their bonds are like gentle embraces, open and flexible. It means that everything can combine with everything else, that rivers can carve stone, that plants can drink light, that hearts can beat in rhythm. It is the same emptiness that allows molecules of oxygen to slip into your lungs, across membranes into your blood, into the cells that give you breath. Without emptiness, there could be no exchange, no gift of life between you and the world. You inhale, and the emptiness of atoms welcomes the air into your being. You exhale, and the emptiness of atoms carries your breath back to the trees. Life is a cycle of spaciousness, a conversation made possible by silence. Even memory rests on this foundation. When you recall a moment from years ago, neurons spark with electrical signals, opening pathways across synapses, which themselves are tiny gaps, spaces where signals leap. Thought is not continuity but crossing, each idea carried across emptiness. The whisper of space within atoms is echoed in the whisper of space within your mind. You are not just made of emptiness, you think with it, you dream with it, you are sustained by it. Scientists often describe the vacuum as restless, filled with quantum fluctuations. Pairs of particles appear and vanish, borrowing energy for the briefest heartbeat of time. This reveals something profound, that even emptiness is never still. It breathes, it flickers, it carries the rhythm of creation. In those tiny moments, new realities can emerge. Entire universes may have been born from such fluctuations, small sparks swelling into infinite expansion. Perhaps our cosmos itself, with its galaxies and stars and lives, began as a whisper of empty space. What we call nothing may be the seed of everything. And so, when you think of atoms and their silence, let it not bring fear but wonder. You are not less real because you are mostly space. You are part of a larger poetry, one in which silence is not absence but music's partner, where stillness is not void but possibility. The whisper of empty space is inside you, steady and calm, shaping every breath and every heartbeat. It connects you to the stars above and the soil beneath, to the light of the sun and the depth of the night sky. The story resolves here, not with an ending but with a pause. Like the silence after a gentle song, it invites you to listen more closely, to notice the openness in everything around you. As you rest, remember that the world is not crowded but spacious, not heavy but light, not solid but soft. You walk through emptiness every day, and that emptiness holds you gently. It is the unseen friend, the quiet companion, the soft ground beneath all being. In this whisper lies a truth both scientific and poetic. That reality is woven not only of matter, but of the spaces in between, and in those spaces you can find peace. There is a quiet choreography hidden in the air you breathe, a dance of invisible partners that never ends. Though you cannot see them, trillions of particles drift and collide around you in every instant. They move with no conductor, no music audible to the ear, yet their rhythm is everywhere. It fills the atmosphere, it hums in the warmth of sunlight, it stirs in the pulse of your own body. To imagine this dance is to begin sensing the secret fabric of reality, a fabric not woven from threads but from motion, from the endless steps of particles that move unseen. Consider a single breath you take. Within it are oxygen molecules, carried from trees and oceans, drifting into your lungs. Each oxygen molecule is two atoms bound together, and each atom carries electrons that sh. Immerine clouds. Around them, invisible quanta stir, photons of light, tiny carriers of energy, moving too swiftly for your eyes. At the same time, dust particles float in the air, so light they remain suspended. And deeper still, even the empty spaces are alive with unseen activity. The world is never still. It dances in silence endlessly. This dance is older than life itself. Long before rivers carved valleys, long before forests reached for the sky, the universe was already moving. After the birth of the cosmos, particles burst forth like sparks from a fire. They collided, they scattered, they formed bonds. Out of their restless waltz came atoms, then stars, then galaxies. Each particle was a step in the choreography of creation. Even now, billions of years later, that dance continues. Every ray of sunlight, every drop of rain, every flicker of thought in your mind is carried by particles in motion. You are not separate from this dance. You are made of it. Let us drift closer. Imagine the air as a vast ballroom, filled not with couples but with countless dancers moving freely. Each nitrogen molecule, each oxygen atom, each speck of dust is a dancer. They twist, they turn, they collide. The collisions are not destructive but playful, sharing energy, changing direction, passing momentum like whispers. The warmth you feel on your skin is nothing more than the quickening of this dance. Heat is motion, the restless shuffle of particles moving faster and faster. Cold is the slowing of their steps, a quieter rhythm. Even the seasons are but a tempo change in the grand invisible waltz. Now think of water. Beneath the calm surface of a lake, particles are in constant motion. Molecules slip past one another, hydrogen bonds forming and breaking in an endless cycle. This invisible ballet is why water flows, why it can ripple with wind, why it can cradle a boat or quench your thirst. When water freezes into ice, the dance slows and crystallizes, the molecules locking into a stiller pattern. Yet even in ice, the particles still tremble gently, unable to rest completely. There is no perfect stillness in the universe. Motion is the essence of being. The same is true within your body. Every cell is alive with motion, molecules drifting, ions flowing, proteins folding and unfolding. Blood moves not only through your veins but within itself, carried by restless molecules that exchange energy in countless tiny collisions. Thought itself is a dance of particles, sodium and potassium ions crossing membranes, electrons flowing through neurons, photons of light striking your retinas. You are a choreography within a choreography, a living pattern made possible by invisible dancers who never stop moving. Some particles move so swiftly and so subtly that we can barely imagine their paths. Photons, the particles of light, cross the universe at unimaginable speeds, yet they pause when they meet your eye, giving you sight. Neutrinos, called the ghost particles, pass through your body by the trillions every second without stopping, without leaving a trace. They slip through walls, through earth, through oceans, unnoticed. And yet they are part of the universe's great rhythm, carrying information from the heart of stars to the quiet of your room. To know this is to feel surrounded, carried, even cradled by an endless ocean of invisible companions. The dance of particles is not random noise. It follows patterns, laws, harmonies we are only beginning to hear. In the quantum world, particles move both as waves and as points, blurring boundaries. They can interfere with one another like ripples in water or collide like tiny spheres. They can entangle, sharing their state across distances as though linked by invisible threads. This is a kind of choreography stranger than anything we know, where steps are taken in two places at once, where a single dancer may be both here and there until observed. It is a mystery and a melody at once, the universe performing in ways softer and stranger than our eyes can see. Think again of your hand resting quietly in your lap. Though it feels still, it is alive with motion. Atoms vibrate within molecules, electrons shift in their clouds, photons strike and scatter. To hold your hand steady is to rest in the midst of a swirling storm of motion too fine to sense. Every moment you exist, you are a participant in this dance. You are not only watching the choreography, you are part of it, a dancer made of dancers, a rhythm made of rhythms. And when you close your eyes at night, the dance continues. Heat radiates from your skin as infrared photons drifting into the air. Molecules of carbon dioxide rise with your breath, slipping outward to join the atmosphere. Even in sleep, you give and receive particles. You are never alone, never still. The world and you are always in motion together. You are woven into its steps, carried in its invisible embrace. To know this is to find wonder in the ordi. Nary, the glass of water beside your bed, the breeze through the window, the quiet hum of your own pulse, all are living proof of the invisible dance. You need no microscope to feel it, no equations to sense it. You need only pause, breathe, and remember that the world is alive beneath its silence. The dance of invisible particles is the foundation of all you love, and it never ceases. Even as you rest, the dance continues, soft and eternal, filling the universe with rhythm too gentle to see but too constant to deny. The invisible dance grows more mysterious the closer we look. At the level of quantum physics, particles no longer move like tiny marbles in predictable arcs. Instead, they shimmer as possibilities, like notes of a song waiting to be played. The path of a single electron is not fixed until we measure it. Before then, it hovers in many states at once, a cloud of maybes. This is the heart of the quantum world, a dance where each step is chosen only when noticed, where each possibility lingers like mist. The universe, at its root, is not certainty but openness, a choreography that invites chance and wonder. Now imagine this at the scale of the atom. Electrons do not orbit neatly like planets around the sun. Instead, they form shapes of probability, soft and ghostly. These orbitals are like delicate shells, patterns that describe where an electron is likely to be found. In hydrogen, the simplest atom, the electron hovers close, a single cloud around the nucleus. In heavier atoms, the dance becomes layered, intricate, like a cathedral of motion. Each layer, each shell, is a possibility of where the electron may rest. Out of this strange architecture arise the colors of the world, the chemistry of life, the solidity of matter. The beauty of a rose, the glow of a fire, the taste of salt on your lips, all begin with the soft uncertainty of electrons drifting in their invisible patterns. But this dance is not confined to atoms. It fills the universe. In the heart of stars, particles collide with such force that fusion is possible. Protons overcome their natural repulsion and merge, releasing light. Each ray of sunlight that warms your skin carries with it the story of such collisions. The light began as particles deep in the sun's core, wandering for thousands of years before escaping into space, then traveling across 93 million miles to touch you. Each photon is a dancer who has traveled far, carrying energy across silence to join your story. You are bathed in this invisible dance every morning, even if you never pause to notice. On Earth, the dance of particles creates the weather itself. The breeze you feel on your face is air in motion, molecules shifting from high pressure to low, stirred by heat from the sun. Clouds form when water vapor condenses into droplets, each droplet built of countless molecules in constant movement. Lightning cracks the sky when particles rush suddenly, electric charges balancing themselves with blinding speed. Even the calmest afternoon is alive with unseen dancers shaping the air, the light, the sound around you. Every whisper of wind is the soft touch of countless molecules colliding. The human body, too, is a grand theater for the dance. Within your cells, molecules twist and fold, carried by thermal motion. Enzymes find their partners through restless diffusion, colliding and binding in intricate steps. Proteins fold into delicate shapes, guided by forces at the level of atoms. Without this constant motion, life could not occur. The invisible dance is what allows energy to move from sugar to cell, from cell to muscle, from muscle to breath. You are animated not only by your heart and mind, but by the ceaseless motion of particles deep within, spinning a rhythm that sustains you every moment. There is another side to this dance, the strange entanglements that link particles across distances. In experiments, two particles can become connected so deeply that the state of one immediately influences the other, no matter how far apart they are. It is as if two dancers, placed on opposite sides of a ballroom, still move in unison, their steps mirroring across space. This phenomenon, called quantum entanglement, challenges our sense of separateness. It suggests that reality itself may be more connected than we imagine, that the invisible dance is not just local but universal, weaving threads between distant partners in ways we cannot yet explain. To reflect on this is to feel a gentle kinship, as if your atoms are linked to the stars, as if the dance extends beyond what you can see. Even time itself is part of the dance. Particles do not simply move in space, they also move in rhythm with time, unfolding patterns that cannot be reversed. The arrow of time is carried by their collisions, their transformations. A hot cup of tea cools because its particles spread their energy outward, sharing with the room, dancing into balance. A star burns because particles fuse, releasing light that radiates into space. Every second you experience is carried forward by these motions, by the invisible ballet that never stops. Time is not separate from the dance, it is the tempo of the universe itself. The more we learn, the more we realize that the dance is not only physical but poetic. To know that photons have traveled for eons to reach your eyes is to feel humbled. To realize that neutrinos from distant supernovae are passing through your body is to feel connected to the stars. To sense that every breath you take is shaped by collisions of air molecules is to know that you are not apart from nature but deeply within it. The invisible dance is not an abstraction. It is intimacy, the hidden touch of the world upon you, every moment of your life. Consider sound. When you hear a bird sing outside your window, what reaches you is not the bird itself but the motion of particles in the air. The bird's throat vibrates, setting air molecules into motion. Those vibrations travel outward, a wave of collisions passing from one particle to the next until they reach your ear. There they set tiny hairs in motion, which send signals to your brain. The melody of the bird is thus a gift from invisible dancers, a chain of collisions carrying song through space. Without particles in motion, there would be no sound, no voice, no laughter. Silence would reign, heavy and unbroken, but instead the dance fills the air with music. Light, sound, warmth, thought, all are born from the same restless rhythm. The dance of invisible particles is the foundation of every experience, though we rarely notice it. We move through the world as though it were still, but beneath our feet, around our bodies, within our breath, the dancers never stop. They are tireless, eternal, soft in their steps, but mighty in their sum. They are the reason you can read these words, the reason you can see the dawn, the reason you can feel a friend's hand in yours. You are woven into their pattern, carried on their currents, shaped by their dance. As we drift deeper into this truth, it becomes clear that the invisible dance is not only about physics but about perspective. To see it is to slow down, to notice the subtle, to feel the quiet activity beneath apparent calm. A still pond is alive with motion at its smallest scales. A silent night sky hums with radiation and drifting particles. A resting human body is alive with motion, every atom trembling, every electron restless. Stillness, when seen closely, is only another form of movement. The dance never ends, only changes its tempo, its stage, its steps. And you, too, are part of this endless rhythm. The dance of invisible particles never ends, but every dance has a rhythm, a story, a meaning that goes beyond its motion. To reflect upon this endless choreography is to see the unity between the smallest and the largest, between the hidden trembling of atoms and the vast sweep of galaxies. For the steps of these particles, so fleeting and so quiet, accumulate into the forms of trees, rivers, stars, and thoughts. The unseen movements become visible in their sum. They create the solidity of mountains, the shimmer of seas, the beating of hearts. The smallest steps give birth to the greatest patterns. Think for a moment of the breath you are taking now. Oxygen molecules slip into your lungs, carried by the dance of air. They cross delicate membranes, flowing into your blood where they bind with hemoglobin. They ride through your veins, reaching your cells. There, in tiny chambers called mitochondria, the oxygen is used to release energy from food molecules, fueling life. Each stage of this process is carried by particles in motion, electrons moving across chains, protons pumped across membranes, photons sometimes released as byproducts of energy's restless flow. Your life itself is not only accompanied by the dance, it is the dance. Beyond your body, the same is true of the world around you. The ocean waves that crash upon the shore are built from molecules colliding, energy passed particle to particle until water surges forward. The air that carries a storm is made of molecules shifting, dancing in chaotic but meaningful patterns. Fire, when it burns, is only the rapid reshuffling of particles, bonds breaking and forming, releasing heat and light. Even the soil beneath your feet is alive with motion. Its atoms vibrate, its molecules shift, its particles exchange energy. The world is not a sculpture, frozen and unchanging. It is a performance, every moment anew. This understanding can soften the way we see stillness. When you sit quietly, you may feel as if nothing is happening. Yet within you and around you, countless movements unfold. Particles drift, collide, transform. They do not wait for your awareness. They do not rest. They weave the fabric of your being regardless of whether you notice. Stillness, then, is only a perception. Reality itself is never still. Dance carries on in silence, whether you watch or not. The great mystery of this dance lies not only in its ceaselessness, but in its interconnectedness. Each step influences another. A photon leaving the heart of a star may travel for eons, only to strike a leaf on Earth and drive photosynthesis, releasing oxygen which may one day enter your lungs and sustain your breath. A carbon atom in your body may once have been part of a distant tree, or a grain of soil, or even a star long ago. The dance of particles is not confined to places or times. It is a grand circulation, a cosmic rhythm that weaves every being into one story. When you know this, you begin to see yourself not as separate, but as part of the whole choreography. Even death is not the end of the dance. When a living creature passes, its body returns to the earth, to the air, to the water. Atoms disperse, molecules dissolve, particles find new partners. What was once muscle may become soil. What was once breath may return to the wind. What was once bone may erode into dust. Nothing is lost. The dancers only change partners, change stages, change the rhythm of their motion. In this, there is no final silence, only transformation. Life is not a separate dance from death. Both are steps in the same infinite choreography. The poetry of this truth is reflected in the stars. Every atom in your body heavier than hydrogen was formed in the heart of a star. Carbon, oxygen, iron, all were forged in furnaces of fusion, then scattered across space when stars died. The particles that now dance within you once belonged to suns, carried across galaxies until they found each other here. You are stardust, held together by emptiness, animated by motion. The dance of invisible particles does not only surround you. It is your ancestry, your inheritance, your essence. There is also humility in this vision. The dance is vast and our role is small. The particles that sustain us will outlast us. They will continue to move long after our names are forgotten. And yet in this brief span of life we have the gift of awareness. We can pause and notice. We can listen for the quiet steps of the invisible dancers. We can wonder at their rhythm. To live is not only to be carried by the dance, but to glimpse it, to feel its beauty. Awareness is our way of joining the performance, of leaning into the music even if we cannot hear it directly. The invisible dance also brings a lesson of balance. Particles do not move endlessly in one direction. They collide, they turn, they exchange energy, they share. Out of this sharing comes equilibrium. Nature itself seeks balance through storms, through tides, through cycles of growth and decay. Even in chaos, patterns emerge, a deeper harmony hidden beneath the seeming disorder. The dance is not random noise. It is order expressed through motion, harmony revealed through endless exchange. To align with this truth is to live gently, to move in rhythm with the world rather than against it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself dissolving into this dance. Your body softens, your edges blur, your atoms scatter into motion. You are no longer a fixed form but a field of energy, moving with the air, with the water, with the stars. You are not lost in this vision. You are freed from weight, freed from separation, freed from the illusion of stillness. You are one with the infinite choreography, a step in the endless rhythm that carries galaxies and atoms alike. You are not apart from the dance, you are the dance itself. And so the story resolves not with an ending but with a recognition that the dance of invisible particles is the foundation of reality, the pulse of existence, the hidden music beneath every breath and every star. It has always been and it will always be. To know this is to walk more softly, to listen more deeply, to rest more easily in the world. For you are carried in its rhythm, always moving, always part of the whole. The dance continues, silent but eternal, and in its endless motion you can find peace. Imagine the world not as a solid block of substance, but as a delicate fabric, a lattice woven from light and matter. Every object you see, every form you touch, every breath you take is a part of this fabric, threads of particles interlaced with threads of energy. If you could shrink yourself down, smaller than atoms, you would see not a smooth surface but a shimmering web. Atoms bond like knots in a net, and light streams between them like golden threads. The solidity of a stone, the softness of a feather, the glow of a candle, all arise from this quiet weaving. Matter is the loom, and light is the thread that ties the pattern together. At its simplest, matter is made of atoms, those tiny constellations of nucleus and electrons. But what gives atoms their ability to form the vast variety of things we see is the way they share and exchange light, when an electron leaps from one level to another. Within an atom, it absorbs or releases a photon. This exchange of light is the handshake between particles, the signal that binds atoms into molecules, molecules into crystals, crystals into the world you know. Without this ceaseless conversation of matter and light, nothing could form. The lattice would fall apart, and reality would dissolve into silence. Think of a crystal of salt. To the eye it looks simple, small, unremarkable. But magnify it, and you find an intricate lattice of sodium and chlorine atoms, each one held in place by forces born of light. The electron from sodium dances into the embrace of chlorine, and in that exchange the lattice is born. The tiny cube holds its shape because light has moved, because photons have whispered instructions. The firmness you taste when salt crunches between your teeth is not only matter, but matter woven by the invisible touch of light. The same is true of every color you see. Light falls on an object, its photons striking atoms, shaking electrons into new states. Some photons are absorbed, others are reflected, and the pattern of reflection paints the object with color. The red of an apple, the green of a leaf, the blue of the sky, all are born from the interplay of light and matter. Electrons take in energy and release it again, shaping the hues that fill your eyes. Without this dance, the world would be colorless, a silent lattice without glow. Instead, because of light, the lattice sings with endless shades. Even warmth is a gift from this weaving. When sunlight strikes your skin, photons carry energy from millions of miles away. They enter your atoms, stirring them into motion, quickening the dance of molecules within you. You feel this as heat, the gentle rise of temperature, the comfort of light absorbed by matter. It is the same warmth that allows plants to grow, turning photons into sugar through photosynthesis, weaving matter from light itself. A leaf is not only green because it reflects light. It is alive because it captures light, knits it into sugars, and from those sugars builds wood, roots, flowers. The tree outside your window is a monument to this quiet weaving, light caught, transformed, and frozen into matter. The lattice extends further into the stars themselves. The glow of a star is matter transformed into light, hydrogen atoms fusing and releasing photons that scatter outward. Some of those photons travel across the universe for billions of years, brushing past galaxies, bending in gravity's arms until they reach your eyes. Each one carries the story of its journey, the memory of its star. When you gaze at starlight, you are seeing across both distance and time, catching photons that began their travels long before you were born. The universe itself is stitched together by these journeys, a tapestry of matter and light woven across eternity. Now picture yourself holding a piece of diamond. To your eyes it is clear, pure, hard beyond measure. Yet within, carbon atoms are arranged in a perfect lattice, each one bonded to 4 others, electrons shared in a delicate balance. The diamond sparkles because light moves through this lattice in special ways, bending and scattering, refracting into brilliance. The beauty you see is not just in the matter, not just in the light, but in the relationship between them. It is the fabric made visible, the lattice revealed in fire and glow. When you admire a diamond, you are really admiring the quiet order of atoms and the tireless weaving of light. Even emptiness plays a role in this weaving. For matter to bind, for light to move, there must be space. The lattice is not crowded but open, like lacework, patterns of matter separated by space where photons slip through. Without emptiness, light would have no room to move and the threads could not pass. The quiet within atoms becomes the quiet within crystals, and from that quiet arises possibility. Every bond, every glow, every color is born from the openness that lets light and matter meet. The human body, too, is part of this fabric. Your bones are lattices of calcium and phosphorus. Your blood carries iron woven into hemoglobin. Your skin glows softly in light's reflection. Every cell is a small loom, capturing photons as energy, weaving them into molecules that sustain life. Even your thoughts are touched by this weaving. Neurons fire by moving electrons, by letting charged particles cross membranes. Every spark of thought is a ripple in the lattice, a moment when matter and light embrace. You are not apart from the fabric. You are a piece of it, woven deeply into its threads. And when you close your eyes, the lattice remains. The chair beneath you holds its shape because atoms continue their bonds, electrons continue their exchanges, light continues to pass between matter. Even in darkness, the weaving continues. The world is held together not by solid blocks but by delicate patterns, not by unyielding walls but by threads of energy. Sing in silence. The lattice does not rest. It holds everything gently, constantly, like a net woven from light itself. To reflect on this is to feel wonder at the ordinary. A glass of water, a stone, a leaf, a star. Each one is an expression of the lattice, the quiet weaving of light and matter. They are not separate creations, but variations on the same fabric. What you call reality is not a collection of objects, but a single tapestry, woven moment by the ceaseless interplay of particles and photons. To notice this is to see the world with softer eyes, to feel the hidden threads that connect everything. The lattice is not far away. It is beneath your skin, within your breath, inside your very being. You are not outside the weave. You are the weave itself. The lattice of light and matter reveals itself not only in crystals and stars, but in the most ordinary things you see each day. Consider the colors that surround you. The sky is blue because molecules in the atmosphere scatter sunlight, sending shorter wavelengths, the blues, in all directions. Grass is green because chlorophyll absorbs red and blue light, leaving the green to reflect into your eyes. A sunset glows red because the low angle of the sun forces light to travel through more air, scattering away the blues and leaving behind longer, deeper wavelengths. Each of these colors is a reminder that light and matter are in constant dialogue. Matter receives light, shapes it, bends it, and returns it as color, painting the world in its endless variations. But color is only the beginning. The warmth you feel on your face in sunlight, the glow of fire in the night, the soft heat of a friend's hand in yours, all of these are matter and light entwined. Photons carry energy, and matter absorbs it, transforming it into motion, into vibration, into the sensation of warmth. When you rest in the sun, your body becomes part of this exchange, atoms trembling more quickly, molecules shifting in their endless motion. The comfort you feel is not abstract. It is light weaving itself into your matter, a quiet act of connection between the star in the sky and the atoms in your skin. This weaving also sustains life itself. Plants capture sunlight through photosynthesis, transforming photons into chemical bonds. A single leaf is a quiet loom, catching particles of light and using them to tie together atoms of carbon and hydrogen into sugars. These sugars then flow through stems, roots, fruits, and seeds, becoming nourishment not only for the plant but for every creature that eats it. When you bite into an apple, you are eating sunlight bound into matter, the memory of photons caught and stored. Your body unwinds those bonds, releasing the energy, letting it flow again as movement, as thought, as warmth. In this way, life is nothing more than the ceaseless weaving and unweaving of light into matter, matter into energy, energy back into light. Look deeper into your body, and you will find this weaving everywhere. The hemoglobin in your blood carries oxygen because it cradles an atom of iron at its center. This iron interacts with oxygen molecules, binding them gently, releasing them where needed. The red glow of your blood is the signature of this iron, light interacting with matter in a way unique to life. Even your vision depends on a lattice of light and matter. In your eyes, molecules called retinal change shape when struck by photons. That change triggers a cascade of signals, allowing you to see. Light enters, matter responds, and from their union vision emerges. Every image you have ever seen is the result of this simple yet profound embrace. The lattice is also written in sound. Though sound itself is not light, its existence depends on matter, atoms passing vibrations from one to another, carrying waves through air or water. Yet when light touches matter, it can change sound as well. Heat from sunlight makes air expand, shifting the way sound travels. The quiet crackle of a fire is both the release of gases and the glow of photons. Even in silence, photons are stirring matter, setting the stage for every vibration you will ever hear. It is as though light sets the tempo, while matter plays the notes, together composing the symphony of existence. The beauty of the lattice is that it exists at every scale. In the vast sweep of galaxies, light bends through space itself, warped by the gravity of stars. Photons curve around massive bodies, their paths altered but not destroyed. This bending of light, called gravitational lensing, lets astronomers see galaxies otherwise hidden. It is the same lattice, stretched across unimaginable distances, light interacting not only with atoms but with the very shape of space-time. And yet the same principle holds true in the smallest spaces, light weaving with matter, forming patterns, creating connections, holding reality together. We might think of matter as heavy, solid, unchanging, and light as fleeting, weightless, transient, yet the truth is softer. Matter without light would be silent, unable to glow, unable to share. Light without matter would pass without effect, without form. It is only together that they create the richness we know. A tree is matter grown from sunlight. A rainbow is light shaped by droplets of water. A face seen across a room is photons carrying the story of matter to your eyes. You are never seeing matter directly, but always matter touched by light. The world you know is the conversation between the two, the lattice made visible in each glance, each warmth, each color. Even art and memory are bound by this weaving. A painting glows because pigments absorb and reflect light in particular ways. Music is remembered because photons of light once struck your eyes as you read notes on a page or watched a hand move across strings. The The warmth of a summer afternoon lingers because your skin absorbed the sun's photons and carried their energy into memory. The lattice is not only physical but emotional. It ties light and matter into the fabric of your experiences, stitching the cosmos into your personal story. In moments of stillness, you may notice how deeply you are held in this weave. The chair beneath you, the air around you, the rays of light on your skin, the beat of your heart, all are threads in the lattice. You do not stand outside it. You are part of it, woven as tightly as any crystal, as delicately as any leaf. To recognize this is to see that life is not separate from the world, but entirely within it, entirely of it. You are both matter and light, both thread and pattern, both the woven and the weaving. The lattice of light and matter stretches endlessly, and yet it is always close. It is in the stars that shine across galaxies, and it is in the molecules of your breath. It is in the fire of suns and in the quiet glow of your skin under lamplight. It is the thread that ties together the ordinary and the infinite. To see it is to understand that reality is not blocks and walls but fabric, not rigid and closed but open and interconnected. The universe is a tapestry, woven endlessly, with light and matter as its eternal threads. The lattice of light and matter is not only a scientific truth, but also a gentle metaphor for existence itself. To see the world this way is to see it as fabric rather than stone, as weaving rather than wall. Everything around you is not fixed and separate but interconnected, threads tied together by invisible hands. Light binds matter into form, matter catches light and gives it meaning, and together they make the world luminous. When you rest in this thought, it softens the sharpness of reality, turning it into something more delicate, more flowing, more alive. Consider once more the simplest bond, an atom of hydrogen joining with an atom of oxygen to form water. The electrons shift, light is exchanged, and a new molecule is born. From that simple step comes rain, rivers, oceans, clouds, the taste of water on your tongue. Light and matter, meeting in silence, give rise to the very substance of life. Every drink you take, every wave that touches the shore is a testimony to the lattice. The beauty is not only in the vast and distant, but in the small and near, the humble miracle of atoms weaving together with photons as their thread. This weaving does not stop with water, it builds mountains. Deep within the earth, pressure forces atoms into lattices of minerals, crystals forming slowly, patiently. Some catch light in ways that scatter into rainbow hues, others hold it tightly, making the stone appear dark. A geode glitters because of how its inner lattice bends photons, releasing brilliance from ordinary rock. The stone in your hand is not just matter. It is a record of how light has shaped and been shaped by the atoms within it, a frozen moment in the endless weaving. Even the hardest surfaces are delicate tapestries when you see them this way. The same is true in the heavens. A star burns because light is born in its heart, released when matter transforms. The photons that reach us are not random sparks, but the direct consequence of atoms fusing, of matter rearranging itself in the heat of creation. Each photon that touches your skin has traveled across darkness to arrive, carrying within it the memory of its source. And when it meets your body, it does not vanish. It continues the weave, stirring your atoms, quickening their dance, adding warmth to your day. The lattice is not static. It is constant conversation across space and time between light and matter. Even darkness belongs to this fabric. For what you call dark is often only light you cannot see, photons outside the range of your eyes, still weaving, still binding. Infrared light warms you though you cannot see it. Ultraviolet light can change your skin, though it remains invisible. The lattice extends beyond your senses, filled with threads too fine or too broad for you to notice. Yet, they are there, always working, always weaving. To remember this is to feel humbled by the limits of perception, to know that the world is fuller than you can ever witness directly. The unseen threads are as real as those you can see. Your body, too, tells the story of this lattice. The calcium in your bones forms lattices that give them strength, a structure that can bear weight yet remain light enough for motion. The proteins in your muscles fold into patterns that interact with light, glowing under certain conditions. The very DNA in your cells, spiraled in its double helix, is shaped by forces that balance light and matter. Even your thoughts rely on photons. Though the signals in your brain are carried by charged particles, many of the tools we use to study them, from fluorescent markers to scanning machines, reveal themselves only through light. In this way, the very act of knowing the lattice depends upon the lattice itself, light allowing you to see light's story. And when you gaze into another person's eyes, you are witnessing the most intimate expression of the lattice. Light enters their pupils, reflects from their iris, carries color and depth into your gaze. That light crosses space and reaches you, photons traveling in silence, bringing with them not only information but connection. You do not touch their iris, yet you see it, you feel it, you know it through light. Every glance exchanged is a meeting of matter and light, a thread woven quietly between two beings. Without the lattice, there would be no sight, no recognition, no shared humanity. Think too of memory. When you recall the glow of a candle, the shape of a tree at dusk, the smile of someone dear, what you are remembering is light caught in matter, photons reflected into your eyes, patterns impressed upon your mind. Your memories are not separate from the lattice. They are made of it, woven from past moments when light and matter touched. Each memory is a preserved thread, a strand in the larger tapestry of your life. To remember is to pull gently on that strand, to feel again the weaving of light into your being. The lattice continues even in silence. In the darkness of space, far from stars, photons still drift, cosmic background light still lingers from the dawn of time. In the quiet of stone, atoms still vibrate, photons still pass, bonds still hold. The weaving never stops. It is the heartbeat of existence, gentle, ceaseless, eternal. To realize this is to find peace in the ordinary. Nothing is truly empty. Nothing is truly still. Everywhere the lattice stretches, holds, and breathes. And so the story closes softly. The lattice of light and matter is not a rigid structure, but a living fabric, delicate and strong, open and eternal. It is the reason for color, for warmth, for life, for connection. It ties together stars and seas, leaves and eyes, crystals and memories. It whispers that nothing exists alone, that everything is woven, that you yourself are not apart from reality but part of its pattern. The lattice is not only what holds the world together. It is what makes the world beautiful. When you walk outside and see sunlight scatter on water, or feel warmth on your face, or notice the glow of the evening sky, remember that you are looking at the threads of the lattice revealed. You are not outside it, you are inside it. You are woven of the same fabric. And as you breathe, as you live, as you dream, the weaving continues endlessly, gently, quietly. The lattice of light and matter is the soft truth of reality, that we are all threads in the same tapestry, and that tapestry is eternal. Imagine the universe as a great hall filled with music too delicate for human ears, a hidden symphony playing in silence. The notes are not written on paper, nor carried by instruments, but performed by the smallest things in existence, the quivering electrons, the restless photons, the shifting quarks and gluons that make up matter itself. This is the symphony of quantum motion, the restless rhythm beneath everything you see and touch. Though you cannot hear it, it surrounds you, it passes through you, it is you. Each atom in your body plays its part. Each particle hums in quiet harmony, forming the unseen music of reality. In the classical world, motion is predictable, like the steady beat of a drum. A stone tossed in the air follows a clear arc, a pendulum swings with gentle rhythm, a planet turns in its orbit. But in the quantum world, the rhythm is softer, stranger, more mysterious. Particles do not move along fixed paths, but shimmer as possibilities, like chords half-formed, like notes suspended in silence. An electron is not here or there until observed. It hovers in a cloud of potential, its exact position uncertain, its exact momentum unknowable. This uncertainty is not a flaw, but a feature, a rule of the hidden symphony. The music is not rigid but open, not written in straight lines but in gentle probabilities. The NK of a violin string trembling after it is plucked. Its motion is not one frequency but many, overtones blending into richness. In much the same way, particles vibrate in layers of possibility. An electron around a nucleus is like a violin string resonating, its energy levels forming patterns, harmonics of the quantum world. Each transition from one level to another is like a change of note, a photon released or absorbed as the music shifts. When atoms glow, when light is emitted, it is the release of these quantum notes, the secret music becoming visible for a brief instant. Neon signs, fireflies glowing, stars burning in the night, all are concerts of electrons changing their song. The symphony reaches further still. Particles are not only vibrating but entangled, their fates linked across distances. Two particles created together can remain bound, their properties mirrored even when separated by miles or galaxies. It is as though two notes struck on different instruments still resonate as one chord, no matter how far apart they are carried. This entanglement is one of the strangest harmonies in the universe, a silent duet between partners who never part. Einstein once called it spooky action at a distance, yet it is real, tested, and confirmed. The hidden symphony does not play only in single notes, but in chords stretched across space and time. Now imagine yourself shrinking until you could stand among these particles. You would not see solid objects, but waves rising and falling, overlapping like ripples in water. The world would shimmer with interference, patterns forming and dissolving, a tapestry of probabilities woven and unwoven. What you thought was still would be alive with motion. What you thought was empty would be humming with possibility. Each wave would carry not only energy but information, each crest and trough a note in the quiet score of reality. To stand there would be to stand inside the music itself, surrounded by harmonies too soft to hear, yet too constant to deny. Even within your own body, the symphony plays. The processes of life depend on quantum motion. Photosynthesis, the act by which plants turn sunlight into sugar, uses quantum effects to carry energy with perfect efficiency, photons choosing paths through molecules as though guided by harmony. Enzymes, those quiet workers of your cells, fold and unfold proteins in patterns shaped by quantum tunneling, particles slipping through barriers they should not be able to cross. Your sense of smell may even rely on quantum vibration, as molecules resonate at frequencies your receptors can detect. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought is accompanied by these hidden notes. You are alive because the symphony plays within you. The hidden symphony is also restless. Even in a vacuum where nothing seems to exist, particles flicker in and out of being, borrowing energy, returning it, shimmering like brief notes struck on an unseen instrument. This is the quantum foam, the restless undercurrent of the universe. To the eye it looks empty, but in truth it vibrates with activity. The symphony never falls silent. It hums beneath the surface of everything, a constant accompaniment to the melody of the cosmos. Even the vast darkness between stars is not truly still. It is filled with this quiet music, an ocean of invisible notes that rise and fall without end. Consider again the stars. Their light is born from fusion, from nuclei colliding, from particles rearranging in fiery rhythm. Yet even here, the quantum symphony is at work. Fusion occurs because of quantum tunneling, because protons slip through the barriers that should hold them apart. Without this hidden music, the sun would not shine, stars would not burn, galaxies would not glow. The warmth you feel on your face each morning is a gift of the quantum symphony, photons released in a stellar concert billions of years in the making. You carry starlight in your bones, and that light was born of the smallest, softest notes of the universe's hidden song. The mystery of the symphony is that it is both everywhere and nowhere. You cannot hear it directly, you cannot touch it, and yet you see its effects in every sunrise, every color, every spark of fire. The glow of a candle, the shimmer of dew, the spark of electricity, all are glimpses of the hidden music. It is not a symphony in the human sense, with melodies and rhythms you could hum. It is deeper, more fundamental, a harmony of existence itself. You are surrounded by it, sustained by it, woven into it, whether you notice or not. And so, as you sit quietly, you may pause and imagine the hidden symphony playing within and around you. The particles of your body hum with probability. The atoms of the air vibrate with energy. The photons of light passing through your window are notes on an infinite score. The universe itself is the orchestra, and reality is its performance. To know this is to feel less alone, to understand that you are part of something vast and beautiful, a music without beginning or end. The hidden symphony of quantum motion is not only the foundation of physics, it is the poetry of being. The hidden symphony becomes clearer when we notice how its notes emerge in the ordinary world. Take, for example, the way light bends through glass. To your eyes it looks simple, as though the ray simply changes direction. But beneath the surface, photons are interacting with electrons, slowing and scattering, absorbed and re-emitted in endless cycles. Each photon's journey is a soft exchange between light and matter, a whisper of quantum motion repeating until the ray emerges again. What you see as the sparkle of a window pane or the rainbow in a droplet is the symphony made visible, notes of the quantum scale rising into sight. The same is true when you listen to the warmth of a fire. Flames flicker because electrons leap between energy levels, releasing photons in hues of red and gold. Each crackle, each spark is a measure in the hidden song. And when that light reaches your eyes, it stirs electrons in your retinas, beginning again the cycle of absorption and release, matter and light trading energy in endless rhythm. The beauty of fire, the comfort of its glow, is more than chemistry. It is the quantum symphony reaching outward, a harmony written in the smallest steps, yet felt in the deepest ways. Now drift to the green of a forest. Every leaf is an instrument tuned to the quantum scale. In photosynthesis, photons strike pigments like chlorophyll, and their energy must move to the reaction center where sugar is made. Classical physics would suggest that this journey should be inefficient, that the energy might scatter and fade before arriving. But the quantum world offers another path. The energy moves as a wave, exploring multiple routes simultaneously, choosing the most efficient one. This strange harmony allows plants to convert sunlight into matter with breathtaking efficiency, weaving entire forests from photons. Without the hidden symphony, the green world around you could not exist. Even your own senses may be touched by this music. The act of smell is still mysterious, but some scientists believe it may rely on quantum vibrations. Each molecule resonates at particular frequencies, and your receptors may be tuned not only to shape but to vibration. To smell a rose, then, may be to hear the quantum music of its molecules, vibrations carried to your mind as scent. If true, every fragrance you have ever known, from the salt of the ocean to the sweetness of fruit, is a song of quantum motion, translated into memory. It is as if the universe whispers its harmonies through flowers, food, and air, and you carry them as part of your inner symphony. The hidden symphony also explains why the night sky is filled with light. Stars shine because particles, governed by quantum laws, fuse and release photons. But the very fact that fusion happens at all depends on tunneling. Protons, positively charged, should repel each other with overwhelming force. Yet quantum motion allows them to slip through the barrier to meet and merge. Without this tunneling, stars would never burn, light would never shine, and life would never form. Every ray of starlight you have ever seen is born of this quantum note, this impossibility made possible by the symphony. You are alive because particles dance to this hidden rhythm. Let us drift deeper still into the vacuum itself. It seems like emptiness, but the quantum world insists it is never truly still. Particles flicker in and out of existence, borrowing energy and returning it in fleeting instants. These fluctuations are part of the cosmic score, quiet notes that rise and fade too quickly for ordinary senses, yet their effects are real. They shape the forces between particles, they influence the structure of atoms, they may even guide the expansion of the universe itself. What you think of as nothing is alive with subtle music, a background hum that never falls silent. To rest in emptiness is to rest in a sea of hidden motion, a lullaby written by the universe itself. The hidden symphony does not stop at the small, it echoes in the great. Black holes, those silent giants of the cosmos, are shaped by quantum motion as well. Though nothing can escape their grasp, quantum effects at the edge cause them to emit faint radiation, a whisper of light in the deepest darkness. This Hawking radiation, as it is called, is the universe playing its song even at the edge of silence, reminding us that the symphony reaches into the most mysterious corners. Even where gravity holds strongest, quantum notes still rise, still echo, still play. Your body is also a living stage for this music. Inside your cells, enzymes catalyze reactions that should take centuries but occur in seconds, thanks to quantum tunneling. Electrons leap through barriers, energy flows along improbable paths, molecules shift with elegance. NCE, the beating of your heart, the firing of your neurons, the repair of your DNA, all of these depend on quantum notes, delicate motions that escape classical explanation. Life is not simply chemistry, but chemistry carried by quantum harmonies, a performance within every breath. You are not only listening to the hidden symphony, you are its orchestra. Even memory may carry its rhythm. Neurons fire when ions pass through channels, guided by quantum-scale interactions. Electrons shift in proteins, photons strike your eyes, vibrations move through molecules. Each of these events is a note, a step in the pattern. When you remember, when you dream, when you imagine, you are replaying harmonies that began in the quantum world. Thought itself is a kind of resonance, a reflection of the symphony woven into your very being. You are both listener and performer, an instrument shaped by the music you contain. The strangeness of the symphony is also its beauty. Particles may exist in superposition, being in many states at once. It is like a chord held softly before it resolves, a shimmering uncertainty that is richer than any single note. When you observe, the chord collapses and one note is chosen. Reality emerges not from certainty but from possibility, not from rigid paths but from overlapping harmonies. This is the essence of the quantum world, that the hidden music is not fixed but fluid, not singular but many, always open to change. To live within it is to live within possibility, to be part of a score still unfolding. And so, as you pause to breathe, you might imagine the air around you not as empty but as full of vibration. Each photon passing through your window, each electron shifting in your body, each atom trembling in its bonds, all are playing. You cannot hear the sound, yet you can sense the harmony in the warmth of light, the shimmer of color, the pulse of thought. The hidden symphony of quantum motion is not far away. It is here now always. It is the silent music that holds you, sustains you, surrounds you. And if you listen with your imagination, you may almost hear it soft, endless, eternal. The hidden symphony of quantum motion does not end, for it is the foundation of reality itself. But there are moments when we can draw the threads together, pausing to see how this silent music shapes the world we know. The warmth of sunlight, the color of flowers, the shimmer of stars, the rhythm of a heartbeat, all are verses in the song. To live is to dwell inside this symphony, to be both listener and performer, to be carried by a rhythm that has no beginning and no end. When you walk through your day, you carry its notes with you, even if you do not hear them. Every step you take is part of the music. The beauty of the symphony lies not only in its universality, but in its gentleness. Unlike the roaring waves of oceans or the thunder of storms, the quantum symphony plays softly beneath perception. It does not announce itself, yet it holds everything together. Electrons shift silently, photons travel invisibly, protons fuse unseen. And yet from these silent notes comes all visible wonder, the blaze of galaxies, the curve of a river, the spark of laughter. The quietest music produces the brightest world. It is a paradox that comforts, that the most powerful truths are often the most delicate. Consider the night sky. To the eye, it looks like stillness, stars fixed in their places, but the symphony is playing there too. Photons stream across light years, weaving through space bent by gravity, carrying with them the story of their stars. Neutrinos slip silently, ghostly dancers in the dark, passing through planets and bodies without pause. Cosmic rays strike the atmosphere, born of ancient explosions. The sky is not silent at all. It is alive with music too soft to hear, too swift to see, yet constant, eternal. When you look at the stars, you are not gazing at silence. You are watching the symphony's grandest performance. Even the smallest moments of your life are steeped in this hidden harmony. When you light a candle, electrons shift, photons are released, molecules vibrate. When you drink water, hydrogen bonds break and reform, energy passes through quantum leaps. When you close your eyes to rest, your neurons fire softly, electrons moving in patterns shaped by probability. Each simple act is part of the music. You are not separate from it. You are its stage, its instrument, its voice. Every moment of your existence is a measure in the cosmic score. There is wonder in knowing that the symphony is not confined to the present. It has always played. Before the first stars, before galaxies swirled into form, the quantum symphony was already humming, particles flickering, waves overlapping. Out of that hidden music arose the universe itself. Some scientists believe that the cosmos began with fluctuations in the quantum field, small notes swelling into the grand expansion we call the Big Bang. If so, then all of existence is not only shaped by the symphony, but born from it. The very beginning of time was a chord struck in silence, still resonating through the cosmos. The symphony will continue long after us as well. Stars will burn and fade, galaxies will drift apart, but the quantum notes will still play. Even in the coldest reaches, particles will move, photons will slip through space, quantum fields will hum. There may come a time when life no longer walks the earth, when the stars have dimmed, when silence seems to reign. Yet beneath that silence, the hidden symphony will continue, soft and eternal, humming in the very fabric of reality. It is not a song that ends, it is the music of being itself. To reflect on this is to see life with new softness. We often imagine ourselves as separate, as small, as fleeting. Yet to be made of particles is to be made of music. Your atoms quiver with quantum notes, your molecules shift with hidden rhythms, your body glows softly in the embrace of photons. You are not outside the symphony. You are part of its harmony, a verse in its endless song. To live is to contribute to the music, whether by breath, by thought, by presence. You cannot step away from it. You are the song itself. There is comfort here too in times of stillness or sorrow. Even when life feels quiet, the symphony is playing. Even when you feel alone, you are surrounded by its music. It hums in the air you breathe, in the warmth of your skin, in the light of the stars above. You are never outside it, never apart. The hidden symphony carries you, holds you, includes you in its harmony. Its notes are written in the fabric of space and time, and you are written there too. The story resolves gently, like a chord fading into silence. But it is not an ending, only a pause, a recognition of what has always been. The hidden symphony of quantum motion surrounds you, sustains you, and connects you to everything. It plays in your cells, in your memories, in your dreams. It plays in the stars, in the oceans, in the forests. It plays in the vacuum of space and in the warmth of a fire. To know this is to walk more softly, to breathe more deeply, to rest more peacefully. For you are not apart from the music, you are its living song. And so the hidden symphony continues, silent but eternal, delicate but powerful. It is the softest music in the universe, and it never ceases. As you listen in your imagination, you may almost hear it, the trembling of electrons, the shimmer of photons, the hum of possibility. The hidden music of reality, gentle and endless, plays within you now and always, and in its notes you may find peace. Between every star in the night sky stretches darkness, vast and quiet. Between every atom in your hand lies emptiness, just as silent. Though separated by unimaginable scales, these two silences echo one another. The universe is woven not from solid matter, but from spaces. Stars are scattered across gulfs of emptiness, atoms are bound across distances of void, and you yourself are a constellation of such silences. The silence is not absence, but foundation. It is the breath between notes, the pause that gives shape to the music of existence. Without it, there would be no stars, no atoms, no life. The silence between the stars and atoms is the same silence, repeated at every scale, reminding us that reality is built not only from what is present, but from what is not. Imagine yourself standing beneath a clear sky on a summer night. You gaze upward and stars appear as tiny points glowing against blackness. Yet for each star you see, there are billions more hidden by distance, and between them lies darkness stretching for trillions of miles. This void seems empty, but it is alive. It carries light across space, photons slipping silently through the dark until they find your eyes. It cradles galaxies, allowing them to move and expand. It holds the universe in balance, its emptiness as vital as the stars themselves. The silence of the night sky is not nothing, but the stage upon which everything shines. Now imagine shrinking inward into your own body until you can stand among your atoms. You would find the same silence here. A nucleus, heavy and tiny, sits at the center and electrons drift far around it. The space between them is immense compared to their size. If the nucleus were the size of a marble, the nearest electron would be hundreds of meters away, with nothing between them but emptiness. Yet this silence is what allows atoms to bond, molecules to form, matter to exist. Without it, the universe would collapse into dense stillness, no space for movement, no place for life. The silence within atoms is not emptiness. It is the quiet breath that lets creation unfold. The echo between these silences is astonishing. The gulf between stars and the gulf within atoms are both vast compared to the matter they hold. The ratio of presence to absence is the same, small islands of S. Almothing floating in an ocean of nothing. And yet, it is this very nothingness that makes the islands matter. Stars shine only because space lets their light travel. Atoms exist only because space lets their parts remain apart. The silence shapes the song. Without it, there would be no melody. To notice this is to understand that emptiness is not void but form, not loss but possibility. The silence between stars carries mysteries still unsolved. Astronomers believe that most of the universe is not the matter we see, but dark matter, invisible, slipping silently through space. Around galaxies, this hidden matter provides the gravity that holds them together. Without it, the stars would scatter, the galaxies would unravel. The silence is not truly empty. It is filled with something unseen, something still unknown. Dark energy, too, fills the void, pushing galaxies apart, accelerating the expansion of the cosmos. When you look at the night sky, the darkness you see is not nothing. It is a living silence, filled with forces that shape destiny itself. In your own body, the silence of atoms also hums with unseen energy. Quantum fluctuations ripple in the vacuum, particles appearing and vanishing in fleeting instants. What appears as nothing is alive with possibility, fields humming quietly. This energy shapes the structure of atoms, guides their interactions, sustains their balance. The silence within you is not lifeless. It is filled with hidden music, too quiet for the senses but essential for your being. You are not only made of atoms, but of the silences that surround them, silences alive with unseen rhythm. Consider again the night sky. When you look into the darkness between stars, you are looking across time as well as space. The starlight that reaches you tonight may have left its source thousands or even millions of years ago. The silence it crossed is a river of time, carrying the memory of distant suns into your eyes. Each star you see is both present and past, both now and then. The silence between stars is not only distance, it is history. It holds the stories of creation, carrying them patiently until they arrive to be witnessed. Every glance at the sky is an act of listening to the silence, of hearing what it has carried. The silence of atoms carries time too. Electrons hover in clouds of probability, shifting only when they leap between energy levels. Those leaps are measured in quanta, in exact amounts, defining the rhythm of time at its smallest scales. The ticking of clocks, the vibration of crystals, the oscillations of atoms all rely on these quantum steps. The silence within atoms sets the rhythm of time itself. Without it, there would be no measure, no flow, no sequence of moments. The pause between energy states becomes the foundation of hours, days, years. You measure your life by the silence within atoms. This double silence, cosmic and atomic, invites reflection. It teaches us that what we often fear as emptiness is in truth abundance. The silence holds light, carries energy, sustains motion. It is not a void to be filled, but a space that gives meaning. A song without silence is only noise. A painting without space is only clutter. A universe without silence would be only density, locked, lifeless, unmoving. The stars and the atoms alike remind us that silence is the breath of existence, that it is as vital as the presence of matter itself. When you breathe in, the air fills you quietly. molecules drifting into your lungs, crossing into your blood. Between those molecules lies silence. Between each atom in those molecules lies silence. Between your body and the stars that made its atoms lies silence. And yet in that silence, everything connects. The starlight that shines on you crosses it. The atoms in your body were forged across it. The breath you take is sustained by it. You are woven of silence as much as of matter. To recognize this is to soften, to feel the vastness not as emptiness but as embrace. The silence between the stars and atoms is the silence that holds you. The silence between stars and atoms is not only the absence of sound or substance. It is a kind of presence, an invisible thread that links all things. In the night sky, silence stretches across galaxies, but it is this very openness that allows their light to travel, their gravity to shape, their stories to unfold. Inside the atom, silence lies between nucleus and electron, but it is this gap that makes chemistry possible, that allows bonds to form and molecules to take shape. The same principle repeats. What seems like nothing is the most essential something. Without silence, the stars could not shine and atoms could not hold their form. Reality exists because silence holds space for it. Think of how light moves. A photon leaves a star and crosses the emptiness of space for centuries before meeting your eye. Its journey depends not on fullness but on silence. If space were crowded with matter, light woe. I'd be trapped, lost in collisions. Instead, the vast silence allows it to move freely, carrying with it the story of its source. When you look at a star, you are witnessing a tale delivered by silence, a thread spun across unimaginable distance, held intact by emptiness. The silence is not lifeless. It is a messenger, a guardian of memory, ensuring that what was once distant can still be seen, still be known. The same is true in your body. Electrons leap between energy levels in silence, releasing or absorbing photons. Those photons allow you to see, to sense, to understand the world around you. Without the silence of space within the atom, there would be no room for this leap, no way for energy to move, no possibility of sight. Your vision depends on silence. Your ability to read these words, to notice the glow of a candle, to watch the changing sky, all rest on the emptiness between particles. The silence within you is not an absence of life. It is the foundation of your awareness, the opening through which perception flows. Consider how silence creates rhythm. In music, a rest is as important as a note, the pause that gives meaning to sound. Without silence, the melody would collapse into noise. The same is true of the universe. Silence is the rest between cosmic notes, the pause that allows light to shine, atoms to bond, life to breathe. The silence between stars is the rest in the symphony of galaxies, the pause that allows their harmonies to be heard. The silence within atoms is the rest in the song of matter, the pause that allows chemistry to unfold. Existence itself is music written in both sound and silence, light and darkness, presence and absence. The silence also offers balance. Stars are vast furnaces of energy, yet they shine into stillness, their light spreading gently across space. Atoms are centers of ceaseless motion, yet they exist within spaciousness, their particles suspended in emptiness. This balance between activity and silence is what makes stability possible. Without silence, energy would overwhelm, collapsing into chaos. Without activity, silence would remain unshaped, an endless stillness without form. The two together create harmony, each one giving the other meaning. Silence is not the opposite of motion, but its partner, as essential as breath is to song. In the vastness of the cosmos, silence is also invitation. It calls you to wonder, to pause, to listen with more than ears. When you stand beneath the stars, you may feel the silence pressing in, heavy yet tender. It is not empty space, but spaciousness itself, a reminder of how much lies beyond perception. The darkness is not absence, but presence, a fullness too wide to grasp, a canvas on which galaxies shine. This silence teaches humility. It shows that our lives, however precious, are threads in a larger fabric, woven into the quiet immensity of the universe. To sit with this silence is to remember your place in the whole, small yet meaningful, fleeting yet connected. Within yourself, silence is also presence. Between the firing of neurons lies stillness, gaps across which signals must leap. Between heartbeats lies pause, the quiet moment when the body prepares for the next rhythm. Between breaths lies a soft emptiness, a space where you neither inhale nor exhale. These silences sustain you. They give rhythm to thought, to life, to existence. You are not only alive because of motion, but because of stillness. Without silence, there would be no rhythm, no renewal, no peace. The silence within you echoes the silence of atoms and stars, repeating the same truth at every scale. Science deepens this reflection. Astronomers know that space is not perfectly empty. It carries faint background radiation, the afterglow of the universe's birth. It carries dark energy pushing galaxies apart. It carries virtual particles flickering in and out. What seems silent is alive with subtle whispers. Physicists studying atoms find the same. The vacuum is never still. Electrons hover in uncertainty. Forces hum in the quiet gaps. Silence is not dead space but living foundation, holding energy and possibility. To recognize this is to see silence not as lack but as depth, not as void but as presence too subtle to sense directly. The silence between stars and atoms also offers comfort. It tells us that we do not need to fill every space, that emptiness itself can hold beauty. In our lives, we often fear silence, rushing to fill it with words or noise. Yet the universe reminds us that silence is the ground of all creation. Without it, there would be no light, no color, no matter, no life. To sit quietly, to breathe into stillness, is to align yourself with the structure of reality. You are repeating what atoms do, what galaxies do, what the cosmos itself does, resting in silence, letting it hold you, letting it give shape to your being. As you breathe now, you may imagine yourself as part of this great echo, between your atoms' stretches. Silence, the same silence that lies between stars. The scale is different, but the pattern is the same. You are a reflection of the cosmos, a constellation of silences filled with motion and light. To know this is to feel less separate, less small. The silence within you and the silence around you are the same silence, one continuous fabric, one quiet truth. You are not apart from the stars. You are joined to them by silence itself. And so the silence teaches us gently that emptiness is not to be feared but embraced, that it is not absence but foundation, that it holds light, sustains atoms, carries galaxies, shapes time. The silence between stars and atoms is the silence that holds everything, including you. To notice it is to find peace, to feel connection, to rest in the quiet truth that reality is woven not only of matter, but of silence that gives matter meaning. The silence between the stars and atoms is not an ending, but a gentle reminder that life itself is held in spaces we cannot see. It is easy to imagine that matter alone carries weight, that presence alone shapes reality. Yet when we look closely, we see that the most important truths are hidden in quiet. Silence holds the atom together. Silence stretches between galaxies. Silence allows light to travel, thoughts to spark, and life to breathe. It is not the absence of being, but the ground upon which being rests. To honor silence is to honor reality itself. Think of the moment just before dawn. The world is quiet, the sky still dark, and the silence feels full, expectant. In that pause lies the promise of light, the unfolding of the day. The universe lives in such pauses. Between the stars, silence waits, carrying light from ancient suns until it meets your eyes. Between the parts of atoms, silence lingers, giving space for bonds to form, for matter to hold its shape. The pause is not empty, it is possibility. It is the breath between creation and becoming. Every dawn, every bond, every moment is born in silence. Consider also the silence of memory. When you recall a moment, it does not come all at once, but emerges softly, with pauses, with spaces that give meaning. The silence between thoughts is what allows you to reflect, to understand, to rest in awareness. Without pause, the mind would be chaos, overwhelmed with noise. In this way, the silence within you echoes the silence of the cosmos. Just as stars need emptiness to shine, just as atoms need space to exist, your thoughts need stillness to find meaning. The silence is not something to escape, but something to cherish, for it sustains the rhythm of life. The silence between stars is also the silence of time. Light travels through it for ages, carrying messages across billions of years. When you look at the sky, you are not only seeing distance but history, silence stretched into time. A star that shines tonight may have died long ago, its light still crossing the void, whispering its last story. The silence carried it, preserved it, delivered it across eternity. To gaze at starlight is to gaze into silence made visible, to see the patience of the cosmos. You are living within this patience, within this endless quiet that stretches across time as well as space. The silence within atoms is the silence of possibility. Electrons hover in clouds of uncertainty, neither here nor there until measured. Their silence is one of openness, of waiting. It is this uncertainty that allows atoms to form bonds, to create complexity, to give rise to chemistry and life. The silence is not rigid but fluid, a pause that can resolve in many ways. Your very existence is the result of this openness, this quantum quiet. Without it, the world would be locked, unable to change, unable to grow. The silence within you is the silence of becoming, of transformation, of life itself. There is also beauty in how silence joins opposites. Stars are vast furnaces of energy, yet they shine into silence, their light spreading softly through emptiness. Atoms are ceaselessly alive with motion, yet they exist in quiet space, their particles suspended in stillness. The universe is both active and silent, both loud and soft, both full and empty. These opposites do not compete but complement, each giving the other meaning. Without silence, energy would overwhelm. Without energy, silence would be endless and still. Together, they create harmony, a balance that sustains everything. To live is to dwell within this balance, carried by motion, held by silence. When you stand beneath the stars, let yourself feel the silence as more than absence. Let it feel like presence, like embrace. The dark between points of light is not nothing but everything, holding galaxies, carrying starlight, sustaining balance. When you rest quietly, feel the silence within your own body, between your breaths, between your atoms. This silence is not lifeless but alive with possibility, humming with unseen motion. You are joined to the stars by this silink. You are made of it, carried by it, sustained within it. It is the same at every scale, within and without, above and below. The silence also teaches humility. It shows us that what we see is only a fraction of reality, that much lies hidden in quiet. The vast darkness of space is filled with dark matter and dark energy, unseen but powerful. The quiet spaces in atoms hum with fields and fluctuations we cannot directly perceive. What we call silence is often simply too subtle for our senses. To live with this knowledge is to live gently, knowing that the world is richer than what can be seen, softer than what can be heard, deeper than what can be touched. Silence is the invitation to trust what lies beyond perception. Even death finds meaning in silence. When a star burns out, its light continues to cross space, carried by silence long after the star itself is gone. When a body returns to dust, its atoms disperse into the quiet spaces around them, continuing their dance within new forms. The silence holds them, reshapes them, allows new stories to emerge. Nothing is lost. Silence receives everything, transforms it, returns it as possibility. In this way, silence is not an end but a continuation, not emptiness but transformation. It is the eternal companion, carrying all things softly, without judgment, without end. And so the story resolves here, not with noise but with quiet. The silence between stars and atoms is the same silence that holds you, the same silence that sustains life, the same silence that stretches across the universe. It is not absence but presence, not void but possibility, not end but beginning. To live is to move within this silence, to shine within it, to rest within it. You are not outside it, you are part of it, woven into its quiet fabric, carried by its gentle embrace. The silence between stars and atoms is the silence within you, eternal and soft. When you next look at the night sky, let the darkness remind you of this truth. When you next pause in stillness, let your breath remind you of this silence. You are part of the same pattern, the same fabric, the same quiet ground. The stars above and the atoms within you are joined by silence, and that silence is not empty but full, not cold but gentle, not distant but close. In this silence, you may find peace. In this silence, you may feel connection. In this silence, you may hear the softest truth. That reality is held together not only by matter and light, but by the silence that gives them meaning.